Ayo, what is up everyone? It is the Alpha J of the Alpha J Show, and we're back with another Would I Reboot? To answer your question, no, I'm not going to do this after every single series that isn't airing that I review. This is just a coincidence. Plus, these are really hard, especially for this day and age, because as soon as you bring up an old show and ask if it will be rebooted, especially with Cartoon Network, people usually go, don't give the executives ideas, they'll ruin it. However, because Cartoon Network really isn't going anywhere, why not give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this question? So Chowder was a very unique series. It was animated in both Flash and Toon Boom, as well as using traditional methods, as well as its stop motion and puppet sequences. I think one unique aspect of Chowder is its art style. I couldn't name you any show that comes close to the art style of Chowder. In fact, both Chowder and Flapjack had a very dirty style, but in a good way. Think about all of the shows that are on today at the time of recording this. How many of them seem very simple and clean? Chowder has a very colorful and intricate palette. Their color choices never seem to get dull. And although the star of the show is this 9-year-old purple bear cat rabbit thing, what Chowder shines at is their other main characters who are also very strong, weird, and entertaining to watch. Mung Daal, Shnitzel, Panini, Truffles, Gazpacho, Endive, and so many more. Did any of these sound like food to you? The show has prided itself on naming its characters based on food. In fact, food is a large part of Chowder, both the show and the character himself, as they use it in not only the names and plots, but also as common items, even transition slides. They made sure to make Chowder a blank canvas, which also attributes to his scatterbrain attitude. They have episodes like Cream Puff Hands, which was an episode around Chowder wanting to help everyone, even if it harmed him in the process. The Blackout, an episode revolving around Chowder's screw-ups and paranoia. And The Deadly Maze, which was about Mung Daal's old apprentice Gumbo pretty much being tortured by Chowder's scatterbrain attitude. In fact, the last episode I did was a great start to knowing about Chowder, the character. He was lazy, but he still wanted to win those medals. Chowder is also a show that didn't want to be trendy. Speaking as an American, the culture of Chowder seems very foreign, which added a layer of uniqueness, at least in my perspective. I wouldn't think of an area in the continental US that would be a realistic place that Chowder can take place from, assuming that the characters of Chowder were realistic, of course. Where do you think Chowder would originate? Let me know in the comments below. Let's move on to the characters. Mung Daal is both an inappropriate and appropriate mentor for Chowder. There's a big contrast in the mindset between the two, and it isn't always one way. There are episodes where Chowder is the wiser one, and episodes where Mung Daal is the perfect one to calm Chowder's immature behavior, and that's very important. There was the episode Wonton Bombs, where Mung Daal was embarrassed for messing up a big order, and Chowder had to be the bigger person and help motivate Mung. On the other hand of the spectrum, besides the Apprentice games, we have the Moldy Touch, an episode where Chowder's moldy hand gets out of, well, hand, and Mung Daal has to save the day. However, not every episode is about helping Chowder or Chowder-centric. We have episodes like Shnitzel and the lead Farfil, where Shnitzel, usually the big tough straight man, loses his strength and has to prove himself worthy. It should come as no surprise that the creator of this show, C.H. Greenblatt, has worked on SpongeBob. I can see a lot of the influences, such as the very subtle adult humor, very creative transition scenes, the straight man playing deadpan comedy, and just the pacing and energy of the show. I think a lot of the appeal of Chowder is that each character is fun in their own way. Even the antagonist, such as Endive, is always comically disproportionate, and it adds to the show because it shows a very protagonist-centered point of view. If I were the protagonist of my own show, in my point of view, I would make the antagonist look as stupid as possible. However, Chowder has had its fair share of criticism. Just because Chowder can be immature doesn't mean it should always be cranked to 11. There was the episode The Garage Sale, which instead of cooperating, he was realistically close to acting like the biggest nuisance, and the episode didn't really pay off in the end. Sometimes they like to de-emphasize or flanderize the characters. Truffle gets this a lot when they decide to make her grumpy character X. 1 or 2 times can be forgivable, but it happens often when she's not the focus of the show. Some people would argue that Gazpacho is the same way. If you did not find one of his his mother jokes funny, I am super sure that you wouldn't find any of the other ones funny. The same goes for gorgonzola, kimchi, and ceviche. They can be pretty one note at times, but it isn't enough to make it a real problem. One thing I appreciate though is the effort to stand out. I give a lot of credit to CH Greenblatt for not settling and trying out different things, fleshing out certain characters, and overall having a vision that, while isn't complete, was always ever evolving. I would never describe Chowder as a flat series, even in the later seasons. Fun fact, Panini was actually inspired a lot by Angelica Pickles from Rugrats, and was originally intended to be a bully towards Chowder. However, through many edits, he had decided to make Panini cuter and sweeter, and we now know her as Endive's apprentice, who has a big crush on Chowder, but can also beat up Chowder at times, like in the episode I reviewed before. In fact, I believe all women were depicted as being extremely tough, being able to beat anyone who came their way. For example, just the main three themselves, Endive, Panini, and Truffles. So would I reboot Chowder? Again, yes. Although it isn't likely considering the creator, I think a fresh coat of paint combined with some of the old writers and some newer but respected writers, we can get a very fresh take on the series. Possibly Chowder can become a mentor and have an apprentice that is either more scatterbrained than him or the exact opposite like Mung. I think it could become a unique part of the lineup, again replacing one of their shows that is on the downswing at the time of recording this, which just so happened to be, well, every show that's on hiatus right now. A lot of people are both questioning the future of Cartoon Network as it cancels a lot of its cornerstone shows, as well as their quality of reboots. I think that if this show does well as a reboot, it would begin the process of silencing the skepticism of Cartoon Network. One of my concerns would be not to ruin Chowder and make him too childish, lazy, or even worse, trendy. I think it needs to keep the culture surrounding it and involve a lot of the people who are close to the series. Unfortunately, like I said before, Chowder was cancelled in favor for Destroy Build Destroy because it appealed more to older boys. And like I said before, I remember more episodes about Chowder than I remember about things being destroyed. So that, in my opinion, should show you how both legacies has been in the past years, and show you that Chowder just very well may be what we need to both silence the skepticism of Cartoon Network and retain the golden period that everyone believed that it had. Anyways, if you want to leave a request, please make sure to click the description below or click on the little eye on this video and go to that particular video and leave a comment there. Usually when you leave a comment here, I will redirect you to that particular video. As always, I hope your time is well spent, and Alpha out.